was the last time that the format was this exciting? That no target felt safe enough? That England were favourites to win? That West Indies looked dangerous? That India lifted the cup at Lord's? That Australia were under the pump? That it rained on someone's luck? That anyone was this emotional? Ecstatic, hurt, anxious, crazy? That someone dropped the World Cup? Mate. That you did this in the stands, or this, or wore this? That cricket looked this good? That you counted down days, hours, minutes to a World Cup? That you just could not wait for the cricket to begin? It is time.
The wait is over. Here comes the biggest tournament in our sport. It is time for the ICC Cricket World Cup 2019. It is time to build up to it on ESPNcricinfo Matchday UK 2019. Hello and welcome. A very special welcome to our viewers watching in the Caribbean. The warmest of welcomes to our loyal viewers on ESPNcricinfo. We will be building up extensively to the opener England v South Africa today, just over half an hour from now, in the illustrious company of Darren Ganga, who looks fantastic away from the heat of the grounds and the IPL and the humidity and the comforts of our studio. Darren, this is an exciting time.
Well, memories will be made. If you look at what transpired in previous editions of the World Cup, you would know that it left a lot of impressions in a lot of people's mind. These teams competing, the 10 teams, they have the opportunity to, to make a claim for glory and lift this title. So it starts with the home team, England, against South Africa. I'm excited and looking forward to this contest.
Your fellow brother in blue is right there, Murali Kartik, a regular on our show as always. Kartik, welcome.
Thank you.
There is something special about this World Cup, isn't there? Oh, come on, say there is. Don't
look, every World Cup has something special. The reason being that you could have played the highest format of the sport or cricket, which is Test cricket. But I think every cricketer aspires to be part of this bonanza. And I think there wouldn't be one single cricketer who has not played the game, who has played the game, who will say that I don't want to be here. And I think that's exactly what it is. It's not about the hype. The hype is all justified. The billing is all justified. And what interests me is that it's a round robin format. What interests me is the fact that you're going to get a chance to spar against everyone, beat everyone, and then lift. It's not that, it was a part of a pool, I just defeated 2 and managed to get to the semi-finals. Yeah. You have to be a consistent side right through the tournament to lift this cup, and that's what excites me.
This is an exciting format. Let's go straight to London, shall we? The Oval, where Alexis Nunes is there with Graeme Swann, who has very fond memories of stumping South Africa in a World Cup game in 2011, the last time England beat South Africa in a World Cup. Alexis, all yours. What do you got for us?
Rana, can you bet we are right here at the Oval in London? It was sunny London a couple of seconds or minutes ago, rather.
It was beautiful.
It was beautiful. Perfect fitting for the opening match of this World Cup. If you can see, there are some spheres behind us, some ginormous cricket balls with all the flags on there. I mean, England knows how to turn up a party, don't they?
We're not entirely sure what's going on here. There's a load of drums that are about to start banging. Ronnie, I'm so glad you brought up that 2011 game against South Africa. I think that's the only time I ever beat South Africa in any game. It wasn't all down to my bomb at Chennai, but mostly it was.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about now exactly what's going to go on the pitch today. England favorites, not just for today, but to win the entire thing. Massive pressure. You know exactly what that feels like. Probably it's even more so now. So how do they handle it?
Well, I'm not sure. I never played in an England team who were favourites to win one-day competitions, to be honest. We were not a good one-day team. Because of the IPL, thank you so much, India, we are now very good at one-day cricket because the likes of Jos Buttler, Johnny Bairstow have now proven to themselves that they are world-class. This team, the England team, actually is, on paper, the favourite team to win this tournament. I don't think it'll bother them too much. I don't think they'll mind too much with that tag, because Owen Morgan as a leader is very much a new age leader. The English way is to be pessimistic and go, oh, I'd rather be the underdog. But this lot, not that they're not intelligent, but they're not too bright. They don't worry about losing. They just think that they can go all the way. So I think they'll relish being favourites.
All right, Ronak, let's go back to you.
Yeah, you guys stay put and don't get run over with those trucks and cars right behind you. Stay safe, Alexis and Swanny. We're going to come back to you as we just hear more from the Oval, especially with pitch reports and toss build-up all coming up. It's time to say hello to my dear colleague Nikhil Naz as well, who's going to be checking everything that's happening in the social corner. Nikhil, is there an excitement around the World Cup, at least to you?
Well, this is the most exciting corner anyway, because nowadays wars are won and lost on social media. Governments are formed, they fall down on social media. What's a cricket match? Anyway, we'll take a look at all the chatter that we've got on social media, and we'll have a few tweets up right now. And I believe we've got some from South Africa, then from India. But then the most important bit right now, and I'll show you that when we have the tweets up there, the most discussed team, well, no prizes for guessing, it is the Indian cricket team, and we'll try and start with Virat Kohli and his boys. And also Harry Kane makes an appearance. Okay, there we have it. I think we've got one here from Frank Khalid, and he says, as all of you know, that I love both football and cricket, and I asked David Luiz who he is backing for the Cricket World Cup, and his reply was Indian cricket team and Virat Kohli. He had a special message for the captain, that's Virat Kohli. First of all, I'm surprised he knows about cricket. They play no cricket in Brazil, but he seems to be a big fan. But that's also because Virat Kohli, and this is a funny one because I've seen Virat Kohli pose with a Chelsea jersey once before. This time he's with Harry Kane from Tottenham Hotspur. Most football fans would be worried whether he's going to be fit for the Champions League final or not, but at the moment he's talking about, they've had a bit of an exchange on Twitter, and he's also backing Virat Kohli. There's Harry Kane there, and then this is the most interesting bit. Good luck for the team that is playing here at the World Cup campaign tomorrow. I have a good feeling that the South African team is going to win. Loreto Malekutu says, so he's got a great stat here. He says, no captain sporting a beard has ever won a World Cup. Okay, so she's got a great stat for us.
Can't find that on Cricinfo stats, Guru or stats base. You can't find that.
Yeah,
no captain
you can never.
holding a beard.
And this is also probably a sign for my good friend Ronak and Murali. Kartik beards are passé, and this also tells us that there's only two captains there in with a chance. That would be right now Jason Holder, clean shaven, no one else, everyone else got a stubble, and also explains why Owen Morgan came for that press conference clean shaven.
I can dig up footage where I've seen you don the beard as well, Nikhil.
I said it's passé.
It's passé, so it's
right.
okay.
I had it when it was in vogue.
Very well. All your years in news studios have made you more than equipped on this. It's not, we're not even done with our cast on the pre-show. It's a warm welcome to former South African all-rounder Albie Morkel. Albie joining us from the comforts of South Africa. Excited, Albie, that this is a World Cup where South Africa might just be flying under the radar a little bit?
Yeah, I think the excitement is boiling over here in South Africa. The wait is over, and you know what a place to play cricket in. England is a fantastic venue to host the World Cup, and I'm sure it's going to be great. In terms of you know, South Africa flying in under the radar, I read overnight that the captain and coach sort of said that they're okay by losing today. And I think it's just another tactic to maybe take a bit more pressure off themselves. You know, knowing those guys, I think, especially the way Faf leads, you know, they're going to come out flying today, and you know, they're going to try and stamp their mark on the tournament early doors.
All right, Albie, we'll hear plenty more from you. Stay right with us. And I love that elephant that's trying to enter your house as well. Just keep that outside as we build up to our season opener. Now, plenty more from Albie Morkel, Graeme, Swann, Murali, Kartik, Darren, Ganga, Nikhil Naz as well. But it's time to go to the pitch report for viewers in the Caribbean. It's been 17 years since Nasser Hussain and Sourav Ganguly got onto each other's nerves in London. But here they are together with the first pitch report of the World Cup. And for viewers on ESPNcricinfo, stay right with us. We continue our conversation as we enter the last 20 minutes or so before the first ball of the World Cup. Quick word on conditions. We saw it was sunny in the morning. Alexis pointing out that sun's gone away. What are we expecting from what we've seen in the warm-ups, Darren? More classical English conditions?
Well, overall at this venue, the Oval, average first inning scores have been 250. Since the last World Cup, it's gone to 290. So you can expect that the surface will be good for batting. When you're playing in England, the conditions always dictate what transpires on the field. So if it's overcast, then you will be able to get a little bit of swing. If it's bright and sunny, then you could expect little lateral movement, and it should be good for batting.
Right. And thoughts on what either team would prefer? We know England love chasing. What sort of pitches do you think the World Cup would you like to see in the World Cup? Let's put it that way. We know there are high-scoring games in England.
Look, it's again, things have changed in England and right through post the T20 phenomenon with all the relayed outfields. The matches start very quickly, and in the process, it's just sucked out all the moisture from the surfaces. And in England, you were never in, whether it was white ball cricket or red ball cricket. As a batsman, you were never in, but things have changed.
Right, Nasser Hussain and Saurav Ganguly with the pitch report. It looks like a pitch that should produce runs, and I'm trying to think of whether that's a good thing or not for this World Cup. I'd love to see the 270s, 280s, like Virat Kohli said, and not necessarily the 400s that England and, dare I say, the West Indies seem to be hell-bent on scoring for fun. Well,
this is a different kettle of fish. It's the start of the World Cup, so you expect that there will be nerves from both teams. If either team is to achieve that, then I think they will be off and running in this World Cup. So I think England, when you look at this team, their strength, definitely their batting, but if you look at what transpired before, both teams, they've had a very good run in one-day cricket. Their last 5 matches, they've both won their last 5 matches. So high on confidence, I expect that this will be a good curtain opener for this World Cup.
All right, it's time for a short break. Our first on ESPNcricinfo Matchday UK 2019, and we will be back with the toss. The first toss of the World Cup is all set to go up. So stay with us in the company of Darren, Kartik and Swann and Albie. We'll be back with more.
C is for colour. Look good to feel good. Prior to the 90s, there had been 4 World Cups, but none looked as spectacular as the one down under in 92. It was the first one to feature Twitter then, this picture would have gone totally viral. Ironically, the ball went from coloured to white as the floodlights were turned on. It was quite a spectacle, especially when batsmen such as this Sir made full use of the newly introduced fielding restrictions. The United Colours of 1992. A vibe so good, when the tournament returned to Australia after 23 years, the retro jerseys made a cool comeback. Mr. Packer, you surely packed in quite the punch.
Follow ESPNcricinfo to catch up on all the cricketing action. Download the app now.
We are on tenterhooks, aren't we, to find out what happens after the first toss of the World Cup. So let's go straight to the Oval where Nasser Hussain is with both captains. And for viewers on ESPNcricinfo, stay right with us. We're going to get
they've done well chasing. I think both teams might be looking forward to chasing in this first game. Their strength, obviously, their batting, although they're a very balanced team, 85% of the matches England has won chasing as a team, and 72% South Africa. So you'd expect that whoever wins the toss will choose to chase and bowl first.
Is it as simple as we're wanting to chase in this part of the tournament to start with, or do you play to your own strengths? Are South Africa a strong enough team to chase a 350, 360, which is likely when England bat first?
You have to weigh in all those things. You can't just forget the fact that conditions, it's condition driven. It's not the fact that it's just the first game of the season or this is what I like doing. Sometimes you need to alter, and that's why good teams do that. And I'm pretty sure that South Africa, with its bowling strength, would like to make early inroads in a game where, at the end of the day, everybody is going to have those nerves. Everybody is going to have butterflies in the tummy. You might have played 400-odd games, but still, it's the World Cup. It's the first game of the World Cup, and all eyes are on you. So the early nerves are bound to be there, and I'm pretty sure that's one of the reasons why you would say that, okay, let the opposition in, and we'll chase it.
Even contest, if in terms of just how South Africa and England have fared, if you look at their history in the World Cup and also of late, I'm actually surprised that it's 4-4 since the World Cup 2015, which means in 4 years they've only played 8 games. I don't know why they don't like playing the English, Albie, or whether it's other reasons why South Africa don't play England, but even in the World Cup, it's been even Stevens between these two teams. We'll come to Albie Morkel. We'll come back to Albie Morkel in just a bit. But this, there's a little bit of overlap in this. There's a bit of understories and whatnot when it comes to England and South Africa players and everything else. It's a nice opener, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And they share a unique chemistry. Both teams, overall in ODI cricket, South Africa, they dominate as a team. And England, playing at home, they dominate against South Africa. So that's a unique chemistry. England will consider themselves favourites because they're playing at home. They're very familiar with the conditions at the Oval, and I think they will play according to their strengths, and that is to chase.
And for you, the atmosphere, England, this all that's been said about England as these big champion favourites works for them, against them?
Look, they've never won a major tournament except for that T20, so it'll be interesting.
I'll come back to you, Kartik. I will come back to you. And the first toss has indeed been won by South Africa. Now, whether you consider that auspicious or not, if you are following England and want them to start this World Cup campaign well, let's get quick reactions. England losing the toss, South Africa deciding they're going to chase. Kartik, you first.
Yeah, I think it's the right decision. Given when you look at what we are seeing here at the Oval from afar, I think it's the right decision made by Faf du Plessis.
Darren?
Indeed. As I said before, both teams prefer to chase, and that's exactly the decision. The other thing, too, when you look at the previous times that South Africa played in the 7 editions of the World Cup, their first game, only once they've lost, and that was against West Indies in 2003. So they've had a really good record playing their first match in World Cups. Can they enhance that record? Only time will tell.
Possibly, if they lose, they might win the finals, because every time they win the first game, they're losing in the semi-final. So the best thing would be to lose the first game.
It's almost like everyone wants to keep the favourites tag away from them, pass it on to each other, bring it back to us only when we reach the knockouts or something like that, right? We've got confirmation of team news, so let's get straight into it. What is the England 11? And that one big debate was around which fast bowlers would make it. And let's see the lineup they've gone for. Liam Plunkett, the only surviving member from the 2007 World Cup, gets a game. So too Jofra Archer and Chris Woke. So there's no room for Tom Curran or Mark Wood, who we know has been trying to get to full fitness after the warm-ups. Otherwise, it's a pretty much expected team. Roy Bairstow, Root Morgan, Butler, Stokes, and Moeen Ali and Adil Rashid are the spin duo in that team. Right, quick word, is that the best looking England team that you would have put out first game, Darren?
Indeed, they're going according to what they've used in the past, the formula that has worked for them. Chris Woakes, there was a little bit of debate whether he will play. You spoke about Tom Curran as well being considered, but I think that's a really good team as expected. Adil Rashid in there, he's been the leading wicket taker since the last World Cup in 2015, overall in ODI cricket. So he will have to play his part. Murali as well, he's underrated. He's done well against South Africa in ODI cricket, and in this current squad, he's a leading wicket taker against South Africa with 9 wickets in ODI cricket.
Yeah, I know they're formidable and they bat deep. No matter which bowling lineup they would have picked, maybe with the exception of a Mark Wood, they would have batted till 11. That's exactly what they do.
Yeah, that's exactly what they do, and it's an interesting one. They're just blessed right now that they've got so many options. And again, you have to look at somebody like a Liam Plunkett. There was so much talk about Liam Plunkett, whether he should even get into the 15, let alone the 11. And again, it's a question of where the selectors think, what the team management thinks. And I, for one, have been harping about the fact that it's the middle overs. You talk about the middle overs, the games can be won and lost in these middle overs. Somebody like a Liam Plunkett gets wickets in the middle over. Somebody like a Adil Rashid gets wickets in the middle over. And that's middle overs. That's one of the reasons why they've gone with people who have picked wickets for England, and I think that's crucial.
Okay, Swann wanted real pace in this team when we asked him to pick the 11 before this game. So let's go to Alexis and Graeme. Swann, the sun seems to have come out again. Alexis, let's get thoughts on England's team and the fact that they've lost their first toss of the tournament.
Yes, indeed, Ronak. The sun's come back out. It's actually getting pretty hot, and Swann is very happy. I'm very happy, obviously, with my West Indian blood. So let's talk about the toss and the England team now. First of all, we know that England don't want to lose anything in this World Cup, starting out by losing the toss. But how upset would Eoin Morgan really be about going out and having a bat first?
I won't be too bothered. The oval's a great wicket. I think Darren was absolutely right. Both teams would want to chase. They're both more comfortable chasing. But in the series against Pakistan that England played just before this, Eoin Morgan purposely batted first in one of the games, just saying, so in the World Cup, if we lose a toss, we're used to it. They actually won that game more easily than the rest. So I don't think it really matters to the team. If they go out and play properly, they'll win this game, I'm sure of it. I think they'll be too strong. Team-wise, I'm not surprised that Plunkett's got the game. Personally, I'd put Curran in. I think he gives you more with the bat and has a bit more variety with the ball. And you don't need the extra pace of Plunkett when you've got Jofra Archer, because Plunkett's not actually as quick as Archer. Thank you very much for Jofra Archer, by the way, the West Indies.
That one burns. That one burns.
But I mean, this it's a strong and very well-balanced England team. The spinners as well, Rashid and Moeen, work really well together. So I think it's a good English team.
And speaking of Jofra Archer, then quickly, I'm sure we're going to speak about him a lot more coming up in this match. But for now, let's head right back to the studio.
All right, many thanks, Alexis and Swanee. Would you like to return the appreciation? No?
Well,
let's wait.
The West Indies, have given
what
England
fun if the West Indies win
a
this
fine
World Cup.
talent in Jofra Archer.
Let's see if the West Indies beat England in the final of the World Cup. That'll be fun. Jofra Archer goes none for 85 or something. No, I'm not hoping for that. Let's confirm South Africa is playing 11. I tell you, there is some interesting news from this team, because I thought the toss-up would be between who amongst Aiden Markram or Rassie van der Dussen would get the nod in South Africa's batting lineup, and both of them have actually found room. So I'm going to get Albie Morkel's thoughts very quickly. We know Dale Steyn is the only player that has been confirmed to be ruled out due to injury. Dwayne Pretorius gets the nod ahead of Chris Morris. Albie, let me come straight to you. There's no place for David Miller in this team, which means that a lot of top-order batting in Aiden Markram, Rassie van der Dussen. Where does Faf du Plessis bat in that case? Thoughts on the South African team?
That's pretty interesting, I must say. I certainly would have had David Miller in my starting lineup. Although he's sort of gone off the boil the last few years now, he's one of those guys who's got serious X factor. So I'm pretty surprised seeing him not there. Same with Chris Morris. I think, when you take on an England side or a batting unit like they've got, you have to pick your best bowling side, in my opinion. And with Dale out, I thought that Chris Morris was the guy to replace him. So it's interesting. But in saying that, I think South Africa winning the toss and bowling first is probably their best way to win this game. If they can restrict England to 300, 280, 300, I think they've got a good chance of chasing it down later.
Okay, I like that Albie points out that he would have gone differently, and we'll get more into detail with that, get reactions from Kartik and Darren as well. But time for another short break on ESPNcricinfo Matchday UK 2019. Stay with us. We're fast approaching the first ball of the World Cup 2019.
The 2010 was a brilliant World Cup. If you only watched the England games, every game we played was an absolute corker and a close finish. especially the one that stands out in my memory is against South Africa in Chennai.
The Chennai track was spinning like a top when England and South Africa met in the 2011 World Cup. South Africa needed 8 runs in 3 overs to close out the low-scoring affair.
We didn't get a very big total at all, and South Africa went in basically thinking we're going to cruise this, but it was a real turning pitch. I remember getting Graeme Smith out early on, caught behind. He went for the old DRS, said he didn't hit it. Many people were saying, oh, it's South Africa, they choke in World Cups, but I put it all down to the spinners of England who won us that game. The one thing I remember about that game is the fact that the wicket was turning a lot, and so we knew that South Africans weren't great players of spin, and they'd sort of go like rabbits in the headlight and not really attack us so much. So that's what we tried to do. We tried to bowl as fast as we could into the wicket, extract.
Under Owen's leadership, England go into this summer's ICC Men's Cricket World Cup as one of the favourites. So how much would it mean to him to lift that coveted trophy?
I'd love to win it, but I think winning it is a long way away. I feel extremely fortunate to be part of a huge cycle in English cricket. We've, I suppose, achieved the objective of changing the way that we wanted to play. We have the constant hunger to try and improve ourselves, and that comes from within. We're well equipped for home conditions. It's going to be a big challenge, but one that hopefully we can overcome. I've always shown belief in myself and what I wanted to do, in other people around me, and that has really stayed true right until this day, and I think it will stay with me the rest of my life.
Boy, huge responsibility on the shoulders of Eoin Morgan ahead of what is clearly the biggest World Cup, at least for the English media, in many years. So we'll see how he leads this England team. Good to have you back on ESPNcricinfo Matchday UK 2019 as we approach our first bit of cricket of this World Cup. Let's continue the conversation. Key matchups, Josh Buttler will feature in them. He's been predicted by many to be the player to watch out for in this World Cup. He already comes off a pretty successful IPL, and runs come for fun for Josh Buttler, and that's after heaps of runs have already got. We've got the key matchup between Buttler and Kagiso Rabada, who South Africa would be delighted is fully fit, and Rabada seems to have his number, Darren, so there aren't too many bowlers in the world that can claim good numbers against Josh Buttler, but there aren't too many batsmen in the world that have got the better of Rabada either.
Yeah, Rabada, he's been a real success for South Africa because of his pace, his accuracy. He's done the business for them, and more so against England. He's been the leading bowler for South Africa against this opposition. So they will be relying on him to take wickets and to put pressure on this England batting. But as you said, Josh Buttler, he's been consistent. His run in T20 cricket has brought him into this England setup. And he's been part of that change and the scripting of a new narrative for England in white ball cricket. They were very conservative, and now, as Graeme Swann said, they're fearless in the way they play this version and format of the game.
You've been speaking about just the middle overs and the importance it could have in this World Cup. Here comes Josh Buttler, who dictates the middle overs. What would you do to try and keep him quiet? Would you use Rabada differently, knowing that this is the batting lineup he's going to be bowling?
Look, thankfully you have 10 overs. So you have that initial burst from Rabada, and then look, the thing with a team like England is that it's not just one man. You need to have other bowlers as well who are capable of choking the runs or have that stranglehold. Yes, you're going to try and use Rabada in key situations, in key areas, but again, at the end of the day, they've got so many key players. Jason Roy and Johnny Bairstow up the top. You still want to get rid of Root. It's not as if that Root cannot bat deep. He also strikes at around 90. At the end, they've got so much firepower in terms of Ben Stokes, Josh Buttler, and Josh Buttler, for one, has got so many strokes. So you need to try and keep him quiet, and try and keep him quiet in a way that someone else can take advantage and get a wicket. So it's not an easy one. You have 10 overs, thankfully. It's not as if that you've got only 4 overs in this format. So it's not just Kagiso Rabada alone.
Yeah, let's get a quick word from Albie Morkel. Albie, just how do you use your bowlers now? You know the bowlers you have at your disposal. You don't have Dale Steyn to take the new ball. Will it go to Rabada, Ngidi? What sort of role does Pretorius take? You already said you wanted Morris. Just thoughts on South Africa's bowling plans quickly?
Yeah, look, the new ball will go to Rabada and Lungi Ngidi. They're going to be crucial up front. I think if you don't strike against England, you know, within the first couple of overs, they're going to put you under massive pressure later on the innings. They've got some batsmen that can take the game away from you, and they've actually sort of reinvented one-day cricket or batting in one-day cricket in the last couple of months. You know, scoring totals of over 340 consistently. So South Africa will look at Kagiso and Lungi to strike with a new ball, and then the other trump card will be Imran Tahir. I think through the middle, you know, they're going to have to use him as a strike option to take wickets, and then with Andile Pechlekwayo and Dwayne Pretorius to try and dry up the runs.
All right, Albie's already said that he thinks that 280 or so, 300 is the best for South Africa. Let's see how many they get. Our viewers in the Caribbean, we'll see you back after the first innings. Viewers on ESPNcricinfo, stay right with us. We're going nowhere. We're going to be with you till that first ball. And we have now the luxury to go into detail with how South Africa can go about their bowling, England, their approach. Let's go back to that conversation on the 11s and spend some more time. Albie saying he's very surprised that David Miller is the exclusion. Do you share that surprise?
And he's saying that because David Miller has done well against England. He averages 138 with the bat. So that is way above his normal career average.
Makes sense of it then. Assuming it's not injury, what have South Africa looked like?
I think that they're trying to get a fresh approach to England. England would have known a lot about David Miller and what he can do. Van der Dusen is a young player who has just entered the South African setup. He's scored run consistently for them, and I think they're giving an opportunity to a fresh face in this South African team. Yes, a lot of the batting is centered around Hashim Amla, Faf du Plessis, but I think you also need the younger players in a team to come to the party and to come forward, and that's the approach they're taking to bring a sort of difference to this South African batting approach.
Let me just get another word from you, Albie. It's not like a like for like, though. I've not seen much of Rassie van der Dusen. From what I saw in the series against Pakistan, he likes to take his time, build an innings, lets others play around him. That's not what we expect from David Miller. So what is South Africa trying to get here by playing both him and Aiden Markram in the same 11 first game of the World Cup?
Was that a question for me? Sorry.
Yes, for you, Albie. All yours. Take it away.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Just broke up there for a second. Look, it's going to be interesting to see where they use Markram. My gut feel would say they're going to use him at 3, and everyone drops down 1 with Faf at 4, Rassie 5, and then JP 6 to try and make that batting lineup a little bit longer. In chasing big totals, that's always going to be your problem if you don't have a finisher like a David Miller and a Chris Morris on your side. You know, if England do happen to score a big total, that batting lineup will be under big pressure to score at 6 and 7s all the time. So, like I said earlier, it's crucial for them to try and, you know, have an attacking mindset with a ball to try and knock over England and to chase nothing more than 300, 320. I think with that batting lineup, they can do it. Getting back to guys like Van der Dusen and Markram, you know, they're exciting young players. They've got no World Cup baggage on their shoulders, so maybe in hindsight, you know, it's also a good thing to give them a fresh opportunity to make a mark.
All right, let's talk a little bit more about South Africa now, because it looks like the only team that the media in the UK and I think many of us were interested in was the England team. But South Africa, maybe a good way that they enter this World Cup without that sort of burden and expectation. If we look at their numbers, though, in terms of just teams that have the best win percentage, you'll find that Faf du Plessis' team is right up there, which again creates a conversation of whether this South African team is actually depleted. Now, Kartik, it's one thing to say they don't have AB de Villiers, and that's a huge miss. But since that 2015 World Cup, you've got them at number 3, AB de Villiers retiring just over a year or so back, or round about theirs. They still look a decent ODI unit, don't they?
They are. They have always been. That's why I said yesterday in the preview that you look at South Africa and the way they have performed right through. They've always been 1 or 2. Even over here, they're not too far. They're, I think, 3rd or 4th in the ranking, 3rd. So it's not as if they're far away. It's just that sometimes. And again, I actually wanted to ask Albie about it. You can have a few players who have not had the baggage of a World Cup, but the baggage of a country carries along because of the fact that there are so many others who are part of it, who have been part of it. When you are a newcomer coming into the side, the expectation on you is to break those shackles, to break the barrier and be the new one. Does it put extra pressure on someone like an Aiden Markram or a Kagiso Rabada and all these guys who have not seen a World Cup? This is the first time they're coming in. You might not have an AB de Villiers. That could actually be an advantage sometimes, that there are others who need to pull their socks up. But the baggage of an entire nation is still carrying because you've not been able to break it. You've not been able to break it. You're walking into a side where there are still those people who have been part of different World Cups. So does it put a huge pressure on the guys coming in?
Why don't we take that to Albie? Kartik putting the point of different players, but do they come to this World Cup without the baggage that we know traditionally South Africa do? Albie, take me through your thoughts of what you expect from this South African team. Everything that's being said about them, is the baggage still with the South Africans?
Look, that's always the challenge. I think, unfortunately, South Africa carries that tag all along with them, whether it's a 50-over World Cup or 20-over World Cup. And the guys are really, when I was part of the T20 World Cups, the guys are really hard trying behind the scenes to break that. Unfortunately, in big tournaments, we haven't won one yet. And if you play outside the tournaments in other series, we seem to beat all the teams around the world. So, it's still there for us to do well in the World Cup. I like the mixture of this side though. On paper, it's probably not as strong as teams we've had in the past, but there's a nice mixture of exciting young players. They've got a very good leader in Faf. It looks like Hashim Amla in the warm-up games. Yes, I know it's warm-up games, but it looks like he's returning to form. So they're going to rely heavily on those guys and throw in the X-factor players like Quinton. If he has a good World Cup, you never know. My only worry is, or my biggest worry is for this side is if you look at the bowling lineup, they've got 3 guys there who's carrying niggles or has a history of getting injured. So if we get injuries, underneath the bowling guys, we might have a difficult World Cup.
And that started with Dale Steyn. I wish Dale Steyn would be playing this opening game. It would just add to the stature of the World Cup opener and create this conversation more in detail. But as I bring Darren in on the conversation too, let's just look at South Africa's batting from the last World Cup to this. We keep talking about how this is a depleted side without AB de Villiers, but everyone around him has had World Cup experience, more or less. We're looking at de Kock, we're looking at Hashim Amla, Faf du Plessis was there in 2015, Dumini was there. Miller's a bit of a surprise call today is what we're expecting, but there is still experience in this team, and we thought their strength was their bowling.
Yeah, if you just turn back the clock, maybe 2 or 3 months ago, there was a huge debate around Hashim Amla and him being a part of this team. When you look at this guy's record in one-day cricket, he is second to none in terms of what he's achieved, the amount of runs. He's just shy of 8,000 runs in ODI cricket, and he's been a consistent performer for this South African team. So I think if he can anchor this South African batting with the likes of de Kock, with Faf du Plessis and their experience, that's why they've blended in the experience with the youth. Van der Dusen and Markram, these are 2 young players between them, not even more than 30 ODIs, but I think it brings a fresh approach to their batting, and they would be relying on the senior players and the younger ones as well to get them in excess of 350, close to 400, and give their bowlers a chance of winning one-day matches.
Right, we're getting very close to the first ball, so it's time to get into predictive zone, and ESPNcricinfo has you covered because we've started a new own predictive game of our own. It's time for Cricket Picks, and that'll be a simple game. Just log on to ESPNcricinfo.com or download our app, and all you need to do is pick the winner. You have to pick winners through the course of the week. You can play with your family and friends, join them to leagues. It's very simple, and once you sign up, all you need to do is predict, and viewers in the UK stand to win some prizes too. Now it looks like bulk of the panel is with England. There's no one with South Africa. Even Albie Morkel is with England today. Albie, what's going on? Are you not backing South Africa?
I'm going to change my mind after the toss. After we won the toss in bowling, I'm going to say we're going to beat England by 2 wickets.
Albie, can I say something?
I'm going to just hold on because Imran Tahir has taken the new ball. we have already seen the most extraordinary first development. It looks like, unless I've got this wrong, but it looks like Imran Tahir has the new ball. Albie, tell me what's going on. Tell me what's going on. Quinton de Kock is at the stumps. Tahir is bowling. What's going on?
I think it's a good move.
Yeah, I'm not actually quite sure what's going on. They experimented with Imran against Sri Lanka recently to see if he can take the new ball. Like I said, they're going to use him as a strike bowler. So
yeah.
Kartik, it's a great move because somebody like a Jason Roy struggles against leg spin. There's so many times he's been
out. Kartik.
Yeah, so somebody like Jason Roy struggles against leg spin and spin early on, and there's been so many times he's been dismissed. So I think it's a great move.
Brilliant. I think we're still in IPL mode, in T20 mode. These things happening. Darren, Ganga, Murali, Kartik, Albie Morkel, thank you very much for your thoughts. We'll continue this conversation at halftime to see whether this Imran Tahir new ball move has worked out or not. The first game of the Cricket World Cup is upon us. Do join us for ESPNcricinfo Matchday UK 2019 at the end of the first innings.